Hello everyone, and this is my review for WWE Monday Night Raw on June 22nd, 2015. And this Raw, I'm not gonna lie, they did do some good things with this Raw, some things not so good. A few things that, one thing particularly I would like to see end, especially the King Barrett versus R-Truth storyline. I just don't like where they're going with it in any way, shape, or form. You feel like they, at this point, should be trying to push Barrett to a higher standing, but they're kind of using him in a comedy act right now. And don't get me wrong, some of the stuff R-Truth does is somewhat funny, but he has been relegated to pretty much that comedy type act where he's constantly talking to himself. I'm trying to think of the exact words they're going with his character, because they portray him as psychotic in some way, always talking to people or something in that sense, but he's kind of sympathetic, and he's kind of the sympathetic character in that case. And it's just not working out. To me, it's just not working out that well. I would hopefully see this feud end sooner rather than later. So we'll see where they go with that, but like I'm saying, I'm not seeing anything that I'm particularly hopeful for here in the very near future. A feud that they really didn't do anything with has been the whole Paige and Nikki Bella's feud. They kind of do something in this case where Alicia Fox has joined with the Bella Twins on SmackDown, and now she's with them on a constant basis. So maybe they're growing that aspect of maybe some of the divas will eventually side with Paige or this or that, and they really had nothing more than a tag match with the Bellas and Naomi and Tamina. So you have really two heel factions going up against one another in this case, or not factions, but two heel teams going up against each other in this case. And in the end, I don't see it doing much for the storyline other than maybe them saying, them going down the road here on like a SmackDown or a Raw in the future is like, oh, now they're gonna start joining with Paige and this and whatnot. So it's kind of weird where they're going with it, but in the end, like in the grand scheme of it, nothing big happened with that particular storyline as well. Another storyline that they didn't really do much with, but I didn't mind what they did with it this week, was the New Day versus the Primetime Players. They set up the whole tag team title rematch for Battleground, and they didn't really do much interaction with them. They had with the two of them around each other. They had the New Day mocking Primetime Players after they won their match against the Ascension. You also had the Primetime Players come out in an attempt to aid Neville in his match against Kofi Kingston. Relatively good match between the two of them, I thought. In the end, we'll see where we'll see how they fully go with that, but they definitely need to bring them. Sorry, got something caught in my throat there. But they definitely need to, have more interaction between the two of them and build the story up a little bit more in the upcoming weeks to set up the Battleground match itself. Another storyline that actually I don't mind where they're going with it, because they are kind of building it, even with the aspect that Rusev is injured, is the whole Dolph Ziggler, Lana, Rusev storyline. Now they're kind of throwing Summer Rae in there as almost like a counteracting to Lana in this case. It seems like she's going to join up with Rusev. It's going to be a weird pairing, especially with the way that the whole aspect of the Rusev mindset and character is. It's not really supposed to deal with anything in the terms of Americanizing, but this kind of does that in that case, so it kind of contradicts that. I don't know where they're going to go with it, but maybe it's like, oh, he'll go with this just because it's a counteracting agent to Lana with Dolph Ziggler or something in that case. The match with Dolph Ziggler and Adam Rose was a relatively good one. Kind of, I won't say really kind of weird, just it's always an interesting pairing with Adam Rose and Rosa. I don't really find it to be that good. I found Adam Rose's promo to be relatively decent tonight, but in the end, not too much going on with that particular match. It was just a relatively good match between the two of them. It was more setting up the stuff with Dolph Ziggler and Rusev down the line whenever Rusev is able to come back in and actually have some matches. Now, the areas that I would say they did the best work with, and honestly they should because they are their main storylines, the Roman Reigns Bray Wyatt story is going great right now. At least I personally think it's going great. The promo that Bray Wyatt cut was I felt was a great one. The distract Roman Reigns from his match with Sheamus to come to the back to try to find him because he felt like, oh, he's got his little daughter or his family member there with him, even though in the end it was revealed, of course, that he did not have it there. It was just a ploy to get him to come back there to view the messages that he had for Roman Reigns inside of that particular room. And it will be interesting to see where they fully go with that storyline setting up going into Battleground. I felt this week's one was really well done, plays great to the aspect of how they want to portray Roman Reigns as like he wants to do everything to protect his family, since it seems like Bray Wyatt's bringing Roman Reigns' family into this whole aspect of the feud, and it also conveyed very well of how creepy Bray Wyatt can come off, and I felt they did a really good job of this week. The Kevin Owens John Cena feud. What can you say? These two not only deliver in the terms of match quality, but they deliver heavily on the promo side too. I have no complaints about this the promo between Cena and Kevin Owens, all the way to the point of, you know, people are going to go off and say, it's like, well, he stomped on the title a few weeks ago, but now he wants the title. Well, he actually explains quite thoroughly why he wants the title now. It's not an aspect that he absolutely wants the United States title, but the character wants to take what is John Cena's most prized possession away from him, and that's why he wants the title now. So I liked how Kevin Owens fully explained everything. I liked how John Cena came off not only talking about the United States title, talking about what he felt about Kevin Owens and trying to portray him in terms of you know, how he feels. I also like Kevin Owens' response, like, oh, he's going to try to get the fans to completely cheer for John Cena, so he tries to portray himself as just the foreigner in this case by you know, start speaking in French because he is from the French Canadian areas. So that came off really well. Just plays well into Kevin Owens' character. Cena's response was actually relatively good, was a really good one as well. I liked this promo that the two of them brought together tonight. Both of them came off really well, and I really liked what they were going with here, setting up the Battleground match between the two of them, of course, in this case. So that pretty much brings me to what the main storyline of the night was. Brock Lesnar, Seth Rollins. I like the whole aspect of what how they started off Raw. It's like they actually explained. It wasn't a whole aspect of like, oh, they're sweeping under the rug that Brock Lesnar was suspended. No, they actually explained what the deal was coming back in for him to come back in. It was basically to apologize to, like, not the best explanation for it, but at least it was an explanation, and they did something for it. Did something in the writing for that, which was basically him apologizing to JBL and Michael Cole for the actions that happened the whole night after WrestleMania. Now, if they really wanted to go full on with it, they should have brought the cameraman back in there and had him apologize to that guy too. That would have been actually good writing, in my mind. That would have been even better writing. It was decent writing. At least they explained that portion of the storyline, how he got back in. Seth Rollins trying to bring back the entire Authority team, Kane and J&J Security talking with Triple H later in that night, and then eventually them setting up the main event spot for the evening, which was, you know, Seth Rollins basically apologizing to Kane and J&J Security, trying to butter up to him and everything in that aspect to try to bring them back together, and they'll help him with Brock Lesnar and everything in that aspect. I liked Lesnar coming out, even them playing the whole ploy that it's like, oh, Kane and J&J were just going to walk out on Seth, came off really well in this aspect. I liked this aspect that, you know, the week before Seth Rollins didn't come off strong because they wanted to bring Brock Lesnar back in strong, but this week the aspect of Seth Rollins coming out strong, even though he's getting help from Kane and J&J, I felt was a good way of going. It sets up you know, for potential of, oh, hey, Seth potentially wins this match now because you know, he's going to have the help, he's going to have these guys, or will they play the aspect as like, oh, they're helping him this week, but will Seth Rollins' attitude kind of screw it up in the weeks to come, and then he might be by himself by the pay-per-view. We'll see where they go with it. I liked where they started out with it. I also liked the aspect of how it's one of those few times that, you know, the long beatdown that they went with, or the long brawl that they went with, actually works in this case, because it really does play to how much of a beast they want to make Brock Lesnar and how much it takes to put him down in the first place. Because it wasn't like they put Seth Rollins and JJ and Kane over him completely. It's like, oh, 4-on-1, they'll just beat him down. No, it looked like Brock Lesnar was going to be in control for the entire thing, and then Kane eventually gains control in that aspect, and they gain full control by the end. But like, Brock was continually trying to fight throughout the entire thing. I liked where they went with it. It was a good brawl and a good way of I felt a good way of setting up everything that they wanted to go for here in the very near future. And we'll see where they go with that as well, because you know, you can't have they won't have Brock Lesnar on every single show, but we'll see, like I said, we'll see where they go with this going into the Battleground pay-per-view with that match as well. Overall, not a bad Raw. Some things I wish they would have done a little bit better job with, but you know, in the end, not overly horrible, not overly great. At least decent setup, especially with their 3 main matches going into the Battleground pay-per-view. And we'll see where they go with everything next week and how they can continue on with all these feuds here in the very near future. So that is my review this week for Monday Night Raw, and I thank you guys for watching.